technicians, AV, PC, systems. A lot of the same hands raising several times. I don't know if that's good or bad. Well, my name's Deb Ranard. I'm the Director of Law IT at CALI University Law School. We're located in Columbus, Ohio. The law school is actually on a different campus than our main campus, so some of the setups that we have are very unique to us and our needs, but I will go through a little bit of what we've done and why we're doing what we're doing with our help desk. 2 years ago, I went to an ITIL Foundations course at our local computer training facility, New Horizons, and it made a lot of sense to me. Sometimes you just go to something and things click, and it's like, oh, I could take this, I could do something with it. So I've been back since for some other certifications from ITIL. I just did the Service and Support Restore certification. I really like some of the functions of ITIL and how it lays it out for you. ITIL stands for Information Technology Infrastructure Library. And you'll hear it called ITIL, various components of it. But basically, the Office of the Government of Commerce in the UK created a set of best-known practices and wrote those into a 40-volume set of books. With version 3, the set is condensed into 7 books, but it is still a very voluminous, very well-mapped out library of how to run an IT department. It doesn't tell you, it doesn't give you actually an operations manual, but it gives you best practices so you can convert it to how you want to use it in your department. Very brief ITIL introduction. Like I said, I've been to 2-week training so far, and I feel like I've only skimmed the surface of what ITIL can do. So we have 56 minutes to talk. Basically, it's a set of practices and it's a process framework for how to run your IT department. Where I got the most use out of the ITIL was in how to run the service desk or the help desk. But there are certainly other processes that it also speaks to. Documented, it gives you process flows, it gives you roles, it doesn't give you titles or job descriptions for people, but it gives you roles for what kind of things should be happening within your IT department. Key Performance Index or KPIs, consistent terminology so that if you use ITIL and you begin to lay out your structure, you can talk to other people about ITIL terminology, and you should at least finally have a standardized context to discuss it with them. It isn't a how-to manual or an operations manual. It's an implementation of processes. For us, there are lots of features we'd like to move into at some point. We're not an ITIL compliant shop yet. For that, we need buy-in from many more people than just IT. But right now, one of our big pains was the service desk. It was one of the areas of contention and conflict within the law school. So we've started with the service desk, and we will move out from there. It is not proprietary. It doesn't care if you're a Microsoft shop, if you're an open source shop. It doesn't care if you're a central shop or if you're a branch of something bigger. It doesn't matter to those points. It's simply how you do the processes within the area you're in. Aligning the IT services with the business requirements, and that's a big one for ITIL. There really is no way to do the processes unless you know the impact of the services being requested, and in your own law school, what is the highest priority. Most of us intuitively know that, but some of us haven't actually written them down into service level agreements. That's the part we're working on right now, is creating a comprehensive service level agreements by going through our help desk and finding out the things we are doing and creating standardized priorities for them. Once you've completed an ITIL framework, part of the process is to continually improve the services, to have people that go in and look at the incidents, look at the help desk request, find known problems, fix known problems, document workarounds, update the database that contains all the information about your system. It reduces cost and provides for more efficiencies within the services. And although it does processes, it's become more of a philosophy, a mindset for how you use the IT department to work within the, well, in our case, the law school. Within the ITIL framework, there are 12 main processes. One of them is actually a function, not a process, and that's the service desk. And once you get past the foundations course for ITIL, the service desk is the very first one they hit. So it's actually the only function in the group. The rest are processes. You can combine some of these. Our department is actually quite small. We have 4 full-time people and 3 part-time people within the department. We also have lab monitors and others. But we're actually rather small, so some of these roles are being combined, and some of them we're just not doing yet. We'd like to move to. But your problem management team and your release management team, the ones who go in and find the problems and make the fixes, for us that's called a systems administrator. So you can combine these roles. Some of them fit well together, some are best to steer from. Service desk, these people actually want to fix the problem and close the ticket and make sure everything's good and the customer's satisfied. So they're probably not a good one to combine with incident management, who goes into the help desk and finds all the incidents and opens them up and figures out why there was a problem. Probably not a good pairing of the two, because they're going to have conflict constantly. What does ITIL do? The IT service management, according to ITIL, divides processes that are supported into 3 levels: strategic, tactical, and operational. And although we want to get to the strategic, we're moving into tactical, and we're going to get a consultant, an outside group, to help us with the strategic, because it's hard to be strategic when you're inside the change. We're working on the operational now, and we believe we're 80%, maybe closer to 90% for the operational level. Within the service support level, the operations themselves, there's some of those processes that were on that first page of 12, the incident management, problem management, change management, release management, configuration management. Those are all part of service and support. And if you have any questions, this is a lot to comprehend. Yes?
Can we get your PowerPoint?
Absolutely. I'll put it up on the wiki after this is over.
Thanks.
Okay? One of the things that we had to think about is the CMDB and all the new acronyms with ITIL. We had to learn a whole new language, basically. CMDB, Configuration Management Database. There aren't very many good ones out there that do that, many programs that do that. What we're using right now is Microsoft's SMS. It goes out and it probes the computers on our network, brings back an inventory of equipment and software. We actually had a help desk ticketing system, so we had the incidents part, the problems and the known errors. Those are in the assessments part of our ticketing system. Configuration items. That's a lot of the inventory that comes from Microsoft SMS for us. What we don't have is one complete database that pulls it all together. So if I were going to take down the link between us and main campus for our main ERP, which is DataTel for us, I don't have a list of everyone who's using DataTel to send out a real focused communicate just to those people yet. I actually have a distribution list just in my email system for all the DataTel users, but it would be nice if all this information came bubbled up from the CMDB and all the information went back into it so that we could have one master database that gave us all that information. Right now, our inventory in the classrooms and those kind of things are still not in there, so we're working on that. But how that relates to the service desk? Well, the service desk acts as the central point of contact. It's the interface, it's the front line. It brings in all the calls, it receives all the information, and it interfaces between departments, between IT departments, between us and main campus, between our server administrator, our PC techs, anything going on that the help desk knows about. They're the ones that should know what the other staff are doing in the department, and if it's going to affect the users, they're the front line to send out that information. This was a little mind shift for me. As IT director, that was my job. Yes.
So you funnel all like faculty requests or administrative office requests, student requests, all come to this help desk or this service desk?
Yes, and we used to let people, we still let people write, call, walk, but now the help desk coordinator has to put a ticket in, whether, no matter how they got the information, they put the ticket in so we have the information. Yes?
Deb, did you mean in your last comment to say that you no longer send out the notices and do all of that? You have the help desk coordinator or service desk coordinator manage all of that communication?
Right.
So if there's going to be an outage, that comes from that person, not you?
There could be a follow-up after it's over, explaining the process. I don't expect them to be a tech skilled in all areas, but I do expect that they'll know that there's an outage and these are the people that are going to be affected, and to give them that information. So yeah, they're the first line. Why a service desk? Well, it's efficient. Anytime you have a standard, our faculty tend to get what they want from whomever they got good service from last time. And that's a problem when people are out and they email somebody who's on vacation. We don't know that the PC tech that's working afternoons is getting all the faculty requests from the 6th floor. And when we find out, and when we found out in the past, is when they've been very angry that they've been ignored. This gives us a standard central place to provide for communication in a front line. Back again to the single point of contact. Although service requests aren't really, I mean, that's like, can I have a new printer? Mine's getting splotchy. You know, it's not really down services, but all these things go through the service desk, at least to start. The service desk will put them in the help desk ticketing system, and they'll track them to make sure that they don't die along the way. Because that's one of the other things we had with some of our PC techs was if it was hard or they were waiting on a part, when the part would come in, nobody was reminding them to go back and finish something until someone got really upset about the time frame. So it now becomes the service desk job to make sure that all the uncompleted tasks keep rising to the top.
What do you use for your trouble tickets?
I'm sorry, what?
What do you use for the trouble ticket?
We did a homegrown system. Mm-hmm. Cost of a service desk. Well, the first thing, and this was the hardest for us, was getting the personnel. We've had this person since 2005 now. And like I said, I've only been looking at ITIL for the last 2 years, so their role has changed quite a bit. Originally, they were doing invoices and ordering and some of the vendor relationships, but their role has changed quite a bit. He's really stepped up to some of the new tasks. Accommodation. They needed their own, and they need to be in a place where everybody can see them. For us, the help desk is right as you walk into the IT department. It's the first desk. During finals and midterms, our help desk moves down towards the classrooms, and that person is no longer the help desk coordinator. becomes a full service desk at that point. We do everything for the students down there by the classrooms during laptop exams. So we actually have 2 desks. The software and the tools to set up and the ongoing cost of keeping up with patches and for a ticketing system. Hardware, infrastructure, education and training. ITIL training isn't cheap. It's actually very expensive. And then we're hiring the consultant to do the strategic operations. Yes?
How expensive?
My last class was a 5-day full-time class, and it included the certification at the end, but I got it from New Horizons for $2,300. So there's 7 certifications altogether, so if one person went for all of them, it adds up after a while. Yes.
The external consultants, have you had one before?
No.
Do you envision having them come back like on a periodic basis?
I'm not sure. The law school did a strategic plan 3 years ago, and my thought was that IT just aligned with the strategic plan, and we had our strategic work that came out of that strategic plan. But this is a different way of thinking about the IT department. So I'm not sure if it can grow in time, or if we need them to come back and reassess every few years. And I'm not sure how we're even going to figure that out in 3 years. We do satisfaction surveys. That may be one of the things we look at to see if we're rising or lowering as we go. And if we start dropping, something's going on. Benefits of a service desk, kind of driving the point home. Improved customer service perception and satisfaction. Increased accessibility through a single point of contact, communication and information. Better quality and quicker turnaround of customer requests. This person, and I don't know if your IT departments have had this, but there are certain floors when I walk down the hall, I take pen and paper with me because I know I'm going to get tons of requests along the way. And I used to leave those to memory, and as I get older, I realize, at least I know that I forgot things, but I can't remember what they are. They're going to get better turnaround if they call the help desk or they email the help desk. Somebody is there to take the tickets. That's what they do. Improved teamwork and communication. It pulls together the parts of the IT department in ways that it hasn't been done before. It changes a few things. The network administrator doesn't send out the choppy, grammar incorrect sentences about the network going down. It's coming from the help desk coordinator now. Not that those weren't okay, because you need to get the information out, but it does mean that that network administrator is coming and talking to other people in the department rather than just taking things down 5 minutes before an exam. They have to ask. So it's giving a little power up in all the little individual roles in the department and putting more into this person, but it's also coordinating the services a lot better for us. Reduced negative business impact, better managed infrastructure and control. I haven't really seen this one so much yet. I'm hoping as time goes on that I will see more of that. Improved usage of IT support resources and increased productivity of business personnel. More meaningful management information to support decisions. And this one comes from the reporting that the service desk does, and I'll talk about that. Another benefit of the service desk is the provision of management information. Because we have a service desk and all the tickets are going into it and being coordinated by this person, we can tell what the PC techs were doing, how many laptops they worked on this week. We can tell that one too many people was asking about Outlook crashing. Perhaps there's a service pack that wasn't updated or something. But we can get these reports from the service desk coordinator. And they also provide us for information like, you know, you had several people this week talk about PowerPoint and how to bring it up in the computer lab. Maybe there should be a training on how to get around in the computer lab, because I'm getting lots of requests for that. So there are some extra benefits from their insight into the calls they're getting. Yes?
I'm sorry if you're going to cover this a little later, but how do you how do you get your service desk ITIL compliant in the respect that, is it self-reported? Do you have an outside auditor come in? How does that work? Like, who gives you the stamp that, yes, your service desk is ITIL compliant with version 3 or whatever?
I don't know. I know we're simply following the processes, and we're not completely ITIL compliant. That much I do know. I'm not sure. There's software out there that says it's ITIL compliant for HelpDesk, and I don't know if that suddenly makes you an ITIL compliant shop, or we're not using that software, but we're doing many of the functions that are within those softwares. Yeah.
How do you handle your data tel requests? Do they go to the service desk, or do they go to Central Campus, or where?
They come to us first.
So they go to the service desk?
Yes, they go to us first.
Okay.
We'll compile those, especially since main campus decided to make 2 changes to DataTel, and within 1 week's time, they've required stronger passwords and password rotation, all within the same week, but not at the same time. So we did the strong passwords, and then only to find out they were disabled because we have to now rotate passwords. So in the last 3 weeks, we've had over 200 requests for help with DataTel. The main campus would just be overwhelmed if we didn't assist. So we make lists of them daily, send them a list of students that need their passwords reset. And we're even talking about one of the things that came out of the help desk, and we're showing them, is this is a big thing for us. Could we have password administration over the Active Directory, at least our subgroup on main campus? And they're considering letting us do that. So it's taking us to a new place with them that I think will be good for everybody. Service desk goals. Primary contact between students, faculty, staff, main campus IT, law IT, third-party support groups like ExamSoft, our video recording, Accordant, those kind of Dell. Primary contact point for all calls, incidents, questions, requests for change, those kind of things. Facilitate restoration of normal services, and by facilitate, I don't mean that they actually are doing anything to our servers or our infrastructure. They're simply reporting what people are telling them and reporting it back to our administration, who makes those changes. Within agreed service level and business priorities, this is one of the areas we're working on, is getting a comprehensive service level matrix. But for now, we know things like if a printer's down in a faculty's office and there's a work group printer 2 doors down, it doesn't rise to a high priority. It doesn't pull the network administrator away from the server he's patching. But if all the work group printers went down and the print server went down, that's a different story. So they monitor those things and make sure things haven't escalated to a higher level. Maybe it started with the desk printers, but it moved on to the work group printers. So they're the ones that make sure that things are flowing. Communicate with users about their IT issues. When something takes longer than most people expect, like loading on the new version of Office 2007, and they ask for it within 3 days. If it's going to take longer than that for some reason, we need to get memory in for their PC or something. They're the ones that have to contact the user, explain it's going to take a little longer, tell them why, those kind of things. Keep the user in the know, so IT is a little more transparent to them. Manage call progress. So if the call gets ticketed and they assign it to the PC Tech, and the PC Tech puts something in the help desk like, I don't know what it is, I've tried everything I can. Sometimes the PC Techs will even accidentally complete a task with, I don't know. So they're the ones that are going to manage this. They're going to see those kind of things. They're going to escalate it to a systems administrator, or maybe it goes to main campus. Maybe it's nothing on our end. Generate reports. This has been a very big help to me, to bring in reports for us of what we're doing and how we're doing it, how well we're doing, and promote the possibilities of IT. I still have people asking me for cassette recorders in classrooms. Well, we've moved beyond that capability a long time ago, but I need someone who, when they call, can talk to them about, did you know we have camcorders in all the rooms, and you can tape them to tape or SD card, or you can tape them and have them published to the internet. There's lots of possibilities here. Yeah, we can secure that on the internet. It's not going to be out there for every other person to see. Those kind of things. It's a great ambassador to the IT department. Provide value to the law school. And those are rather high-level functions, but the whole idea is that they're managing the systems, they're following the task. And this one down here, ensuring long-term customer satisfaction. This is something new for us, asking for how people felt about a task after it was done. And while a lot of people aren't filling out the satisfaction surveys, they appreciate just having that option to do so has made a big difference with some of our faculty and staff. Roles of the service desk. First impressions count. This was a mind shift for us and for the service person. It used to be that when people call in, they wanted something, we'd give it to them. So when things went down and 20 people called, all we wanted to know was that there was a problem. We didn't really want to log each and every person. With ITIL and some customer service training, our service desk person is now one of these people you call and thanks you for calling, whether or not we already knew about the problem. Because if people are calling to tell you the network is down, then obviously we haven't communicated that out. And, or maybe we sent an email, which was a bad idea if the network's down. It's happened. Accepts ownership of the task at hand. That's a big one for the role of the service desk. And for the service desk person, although there's a tendency to want someone who's been in IT before, it's really nice to have someone who is more customer service oriented than IT oriented, because they don't tend to try and speak over people, they speak to them. Speaking the user's language really helps. Seeing things from the user's perspective. Sometimes that isn't as easy as it sounds. Sometimes it's downright impossible, but they do attempt that. Activities of the service desk. Receive calls, record and track calls. Give updates to users on progress. These are kind of out of our job description for the service desk when we updated it. Make initial assessment of calls. Attempt to resolve on the spot. They are a password administrator for our Active Directory, so they can change passwords, they can reset print balances. They're also a print administrator. Beyond that, they need to escalate it if they can't handle it from there. Yes?
Do you, on that level, do you deal with quota issues, or does that handle at a higher level? Quotas on a hard drive or email quotas and stuff like that?
They have a range that's within their ability to change. If it's anything outside that range, they need to move it up. We'll have certain people ask us for complete unlimited. Well, that impacts a lot of other areas, so we no longer can just let them do certain things. Manages the life cycle, including when a ticket is closed, to let the user know it's closed, which hasn't always been the case at the law school. And to verify that the user actually agrees that it's closed, which is also something that, quite honestly, before this person came, we simply didn't have time to go back to every user we supported and ask them, you know, we think we've done this, did we do it right? How do you agree with us? Coordinate support groups. This one we haven't done yet, but we're talking about some of the functions we have. Yes?
I just want to go back to the monitor and escalate as necessary and agree to SLAs. What was the process that you used to create your SLAs for the service desk?
According to ITIL, SLAs need to be a combination of impact times urgency.
Okay.
So you need to have the people higher up in administration agree to what impacts different things have, and then the user's urgency for the situation. We have some very basic ones, but our activity of late has been to go through and find out all our activity and assign it priorities and make sure we get buy-in from those higher up as to what those are. Communicate, plan, and short-term changes. That includes outages, that includes workarounds. Our software version of Outlook, RPC over HTTPS, went down a few weeks ago. The workaround was to use the web Outlook for a couple hours. Seemed like a simple workaround, but communicating that and giving people the link and reminding them how to get there and what was different about it, those were all things that the service desk person took control of and really did a great job with for us. Provide information to management, what we're doing, where we seem to be, if we're drifting off into a particular specialty area we didn't intend to, those kind of things. Those reports show those kind of things for us. Service improvement recommendations, they're the ones getting all the requests and the complaints, so they're going to be the ones to know if there's something people are using they'd like to see change. Highlight customer training needs. Okay, sometimes it's not our infrastructure or anything we're doing, sometimes it's user error. But user error still becomes our responsibility, because if we could train them to do it better, then we should. Close calls and confirm with customer, and contribute to problem identification. Problem identification is a unique process in ITIL under the problem management process framework. One of the things ITIL talked about and really gave us the language for was there's different kinds of support desk, and what support desk are you using? There's a call center, which you see a lot of outside third-party vendors offer, where people can call in and they guarantee someone will pick up the phone within so many seconds. And that's great, because that is a problem for us. We are a staff, very short staff, so having someone who guarantees to pick up the phone, that's attractive. What happens from there? But they pick up the phone. So those are call centers in ITIL. A help desk. Help desk manages, coordinates, resolves incidents as quickly as possible. The big role for the help desk, support desk, are they ensure that no requests get lost, forgotten, or ignored. They may not do the request, but they track it through. They own the request all the way through to its completion. Service desk allows business processes to be integrated into the infrastructure and also interfaces with others. So in this one, you're thinking of someone who is somewhere between the skill of a PC tech and a network admin, possibly, or an applications developer. Service desk structures. There's 3 types. Local service desk, which is what we at the law school have. We run our own IT department. We have a main campus, but our local service desk is for our services that we provide. A centralized service desk, that would be like our main campus help desk if all our callers also called them as well. The advantage to that would be that you could staff it with more people, but the problem with that would be that they wouldn't understand the nuances of the law school specifically. And virtual service desks, those are for larger corporations or schools that have campuses around the country, where the service desk could literally be anywhere. That part doesn't really matter. It's not in a particular location, where it even could rotate between the campuses. Which model's best? Well, the similarities between the models is they each represent a certain service provider model. Regardless of which one you choose, the best way to satisfy the customer and make them feel like they're being paid attention to, their wants are being addressed, their needs are being addressed, would be the best one. Each one depends on the blending of people, processes, and technologies. Like I said, our law school is in a different location from our main campus. For us, the centralized service desk to main campus, they've offered it, which was really nice. Would free up my budget for other things. But knowing that we're in a different physical location, our staff is in a different, we have our own network and systems admins, for us the local service desk makes more sense. The impact of those choices will also affect your customer satisfaction. The skill of the help desk employee, if you go with a full service desk, you're probably going to get a very highly skilled help desk employee, highly skilled technically. When the request throughput comes through, there's going to be a low volume because they're going to take care of things proactively. And the escalation of requests was reversed, I'm sorry. Throughput's going to be high and the escalation's going to be low because they're going to take care of most things. I apologize for that. This is what happens when I go after midnight working on these things. The unskilled employee, they're not going to get to as many things and they're going to send a lot of things on very quickly. So I'll post this to the wiki after I change this. But those are the kind of things you have to think about. Can I handle, like with a call center, for instance, it's going to be a very low-skilled tech person. They can get a lot of calls and push them through, but they're going to escalate them really quickly because there's not a lot they can do for you. So then you hear your users say things like, I got them run around, or I called and they said they would tell somebody. I don't, you know, it's those kind of things where they second guess the process and whether or not they really got served. Skills required for a service desk person. The number one skill up there at the top is a customer focus. You can train them all you want, but they have to have the customer focus, and that's an intrinsic thing. It's just really hard to, you know it when you see it. Articulate and methodical. So someone that could say it better than I can. Articulate, they can talk to the users at their level, they can talk all day to the users at their level, they have steps, they can create scripts for themselves. Okay, the printer's going down, this is what I tried to do, it worked for me last time, I found it in the help desk tickets, and they can recreate those best practices. Their interpersonal skills, simply calling a person by name makes a big difference. Able to understand the goals of the school and IT. They don't have to be technically skilled, but they have to have some kind of business savvy about them. They have to understand what the law school's for and what IT is trying to do for the law school. I've had people think that growing services is the way to build a better IT department, and depends on what the services are. So understanding what IT is trying to do, create the best academic environment with technology support for it, it goes a long way. Able to understand and accept that the user's problem affects the law school. Without the user, there is no support department, and the user is an expert in their own field. And that helps when you have someone say something like, my printer won't print, is the light blinking? No, there's no light on it. And then you get off the phone and they talk about the stupid person that you know has a JD and a PhD and they're subject matter expert. They really are not focused on the technology that's supporting them. And someone who genuinely wants to deliver a first-class service. There's no way around that for a good quality service desk. Some of the reports from a service desk that we ask for, we aren't asking for all these. These are what ITIL recommends. We are asking for some of these. Daily. We don't have time for most of the daily ones, but we do the weekly ones. The daily ones would be nice in some areas. Outstanding issues, that we do daily. The rest of them, we go to a weekly service simply because of our staffing needs. Trending effects in IT. 2 years ago, we saw the laptops taking over our staff, and so we did some things to not reduce the amount of students we worked with, but to manage it better, to provide more training in groups, and to make some things more automated for the students so they didn't have to ask for our assistance with everything from connecting to the wireless to getting a print driver for the work group printer. Staff workloads. We didn't believe that was important until we had a staff member that couldn't do the job, and we didn't understand why we were in chaos mode constantly. And the help desk coordinator printed off the different duties that the PC techs had done for the week by PC tech. And it just highlighted what was going on in a very clear manner that we hadn't seen until that report came out. So the staff workloads, you can use those for reward systems. You can use that to understand trouble areas, maybe areas where your staff needs more training. Those are some of them that we really look for. Monthly, service availability. That one's not one we have done yet. We know the downtime for the services that we announce to everyone. We don't have the overall serviceability for all servers at all times. And the cost of service provisions of failure, that will come from when we complete the service level agreements matrix that we're working on. One of the things we're going to ask our administration is, if this is a high priority and it goes down, tell me what the impact is for the law school if our prospective students can't see our website for 2 days, those kind of things. So that will help us put some dollars behind some of the services we provide, and that's where we're headed. Application and technology performance, support staff and third-party performance. One of them that just showed up in our third-party performance, Dell has us linked now with University of Dallas for some reason. All our students are ordering laptops for this fall. They're going to University of Dallas. So that certainly is in one of the reports and should be fixed very soon. The plan changes for the following weeks just gives an overall report, a status of the IT department. This one is there. We don't highlight it. It's in our satisfaction surveys. We can see them. We don't ask the help desk coordinator to pull those out for us. The service desk reports provide better utilization, increased productivity of the staff, provides better skills for the staff too, because it's part of the data we use to request training for different staff members. It focuses on the client a lot more tightly than the other methods we've used in the past. Management, that'll be another one I change. Comprehensive and accurate management information. It's data driven, so it's not as subjective as some of the past reports used to be. And basically provides the health of the applications being used. If we're getting a lot of requests for our calendaring program, have it blowing up on people, those will come up in the reports, for instance. Making the change to ITIL. The change comes from going from a systems management approach to a service management approach. It's a focus shift on what the services are there for. We were able to do this simply because we had more staff. For the longest time, it was myself and a network administrator. 5 years ago, that started changing and growing in our department. So now we're able to provide better quality. That's what the law school gave us the extra staff for, was to shift our focus, make sure the systems are running, but also make sure that they're doing what people want them to do. Known roadblocks. And when I say management, I also include faculty in this one. If the faculty are not happy and they're not buying into the process, it's a problem. Because they won't understand why they can't just talk to the systems admin who they know fixed the problem 20 years ago and want to continue using that person. Not all the support groups use the same tools. That's only a problem between us and our main campus IT. We use different help desk tools. There are some limitations to our help desk ticketing system because it's homegrown, but there's also the ability to fix those because it's homegrown. In ITIL, one of the first things they tell you that blew the minds of our PC techs is that heroes are not a good thing in IT. In IT, best practices should constantly be performed the same each and every time. There shouldn't be someone coming in and doing something extraordinary once in a while. The thought of heroes is something that some of our PC techs live for, you know, that they can go in and they can save the day. But that shouldn't be the way the IT department runs. So that lack of recognition on an individual level needs to come in other ways. It can come from the reports at the end and show how well they did, but they shouldn't be coming in and saving the day because they came up with something new and tried it out on somebody and it worked, thank goodness. No clear process ownership. The processes such as the service desk and assigning the task and who owns the task once it gets there. Is there someone also looking at the task for known problems and known errors in the system? Those kind of things, even though we don't have a staff member for each and every process role, we have roles, multiple roles for many of our staff. Lack of meaningful metrics and reports. We can provide those monthly, weekly help desk reports, but if they're not the kind of thing that administration's looking for, if they're really looking for how many laptops from students did you fix, how many times did ExamSoft blow up in the middle of the exam, then we need to adjust our reports to show what they're looking for. Tension between service desk and other IT functions. We had our help desk coordinator before we started moving to ITIL. So this person was the phone person and the paperwork person. And suddenly they're telling the PC techs to go to different places and do things. There was some friction. The organizational chart did not reflect what was happening with these people. And we had to make some changes and explain that this person may or may not take glee in assigning your task, but it is the right thing to do, and it's the way that's going to work for people. So there was some tension in the beginning with some of the processes we had. Users try to bypass the process, and if you have poor communication or you don't explain to people what you're doing and why you're doing it, there will definitely be roadblocks. Changing process, what you don't see is critical. So if you want to go to an IT service management process and you've established these new processes and you hit an iceberg, just before you get there, some of the reasons could be under the surface and not coming up because people don't want to sound petty or they don't want to be the naysayer, but organizational structures could have a big impact. It could be that there are problems with the infrastructure and the help desk person is now getting the heap of all the issues and doesn't like it. Some retraining and some redefining of roles inside the department. And rewards and measurements. If you're going to measure people, they need to have goals. And they need to know that there are things out there for them. And in academics, we can't give bonuses, so you have to be creative with some of the rewards that you can give. Implementing a service desk. I think that's a replay. It does require more budget and more resources. You at least need the help desk person or the service desk person. You have to have that person. That's another personnel cost. What we're doing is starting simply. We're phasing in because we can't redefine our department all at once. We still have functions that are going on fall, spring, and summer. And as much as we can, we let people know what is changing. The faculty, we need their buy-in. We'd like it from the staff and students as well, but we know who we've got to communicate with first. At our law school, we have a homegrown help desk ticketing system. We created it in 2001. Has a Microsoft Access backend with a Cold Fusion interface. We're changing that to SQL. It's getting too big for Access. Hired a help desk coordinator in 2005, which gave us the possibility to change some things around. And within a year, we realized that our help desk ticketing system meant nothing to us if everything wasn't in it, because there was no good information to pull out of it unless people were putting everything in it. The exception to our Our help desk is during exams, it becomes a full service desk for our students and faculty. And I thought I'd give you some screenshots simply because this is the CALI conference and we like to see the how-tos behind the scenes. This is what the end user sees for help desk ticketing. It's a web-based application we created. It logs into our LDAP and knows who you are when you go to the website, puts your username in there. We could do department as well, but we found students became staff or faculty, and that changed around a lot. So, or sometimes they're asking for someone else. So the department, they get to pick themselves, submit their ticket. It's a very simple application. When they submit an application, it emails them back an application ticket number. So they can also go here and put the ticket number in and just hit view if they'd rather. So they've already got a ticket in. A submitted help desk ticket looks to IT like this. We set the priority. Notice the faculty didn't, or the staff didn't do that. We set that for them. Their username, their department. This task has gone all the way through completion. We can create a report to send to them. We can update the task. Maybe there was more information. This was something our network administrator insisted on. A diplomatic report. Put what you need to in here. If you put nothing in here, what's up here will show. But if you have to say something in there about user error or something else, go ahead and put it in there, but then write something else down here. Because this is what people can search from the outside. If this needs to escalate up, they've got a reassign button we've created, and this takes them back to that menu you saw before. When they hit the help desk ticket, any open tasks we have, you can see the ones that are accepted over there on the right, and this is open tasks, so everything in this particular view would be incomplete. But this shows up in our department constantly for the students, so that for our PC techs, so they can see what's left to do. All the completed tasks, that was another tab on there. They can look and see what's been done. They can click on these and see the assessment of the task, so they can get more information. And this is everything, complete, incomplete. If they just want to browse through our help desk tickets for the last 6 years.
Do your users see all the tasks or just their own?
They can see all the tasks because there's knowledge in some of them, so they can search by them. IT help desk ticket interface. This is for the IT department. Like I said, we put tickets in whether people walk, call, write. We put them in if they haven't. I can assign them to different people, set the priorities, add comments. Maybe I've already talked to them about a certain thing. Don't try that because that's already been tried. Move on to the next thing. I can also do searches on the tickets. I can look for things that we tagged instructional and look for those, so I can give a PC tech the instructions on step-by-step on how to change a light bulb and a projector bulb. When you get into the search fields, you can search on most any field or within a date range to pull up tickets. I'm sorry, didn't need to do that. And although everyone can input tickets, a very small population actually does. I think we have 4 people that do that at the law school. But everything now goes into the help desk. The users, once they've requested help, get an email with the ticket and a link to track the ticket. And if the piece, yeah.
Can I clarify what you said a minute ago? Although everyone can input help desk tickets, only 4 people do. You saying only 4 of your users do? The rest of them call or write or hey, while you're here.
Exactly.
And how long have you had this?
We've had this since 2001.
Out of how many?
We even put it on our intranet. We put shortcuts to it. We put shortcuts on the desktop. I think because we haven't forced them, they prefer email. Email is the #1 when we get our tickets. We've thought about just changing that form into an Outlook form because I think we'd get a lot more response that way. But that requires the help desk coordinator to put all those in for us.
Sometimes people like talking to human beings. I mean, depending on the size of your school.
The faculty, that is
Yeah.
a big thing.
Yeah.
They want you to understand exactly what their problem is, and not just that my Outlook is acting funny when I sort, but it's doing this, and that requires a phone call. Yeah. Or a walk-in. We actually love it when they walk in, because we're over in our annex, so we don't get to see as many people, so we actually like that. Yes?
How do you counter the argument from your staff that I could do this so much quicker if I just sit down and do it instead of ticketing the event?
That's when we get into the metrics for the people work. You can, but you'll get no credit for it. I mean, you got to look at it from what is motivating them. I mean, it's true, they could, and they do sometimes. But they also don't get any credit for the activity. And if there's anything instructional about it, the whole wheel has to be recreated because we lost that knowledge. And then we put it in the help desk. Okay. Once the ticket's closed, it's up to the help desk coordinator to send the closed ticket number back to it's the same ticket number, but we send them another email. And we really are trying to get them to use, and this last year we've really upped that by having the help desk person put everything in and send them emails both at the beginning and the end. Telling them we believe it's closed, asking them if that's true to fill out a satisfaction survey. And I think I mentioned this before, how it works for us. The configuration management database is Microsoft's SMS. Just another view of the process for creating a ticket. They come up to us or email us or actually create their own help desk ticket. Help desk coordinator puts it in, tech fills out the assessment, and the help desk coordinator. So it never totally leaves the help desk coordinator. Yes?
Just from the previous slide, roughly what percentage of people, of users with closed tickets actually fill out that survey?
About 10%.
10%, and of those 10%, is it only the 10% who weren't happy?
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the next slide.
Okay.
Yes.
A question about sort of hierarchy. Your help desk coordinator gets to send the text out, but it also sounds like the help desk coordinator is the person who's getting the phone calls.
Yes.
From the faculty. So a lot of people view phone support as being a first-tier job. In your organizational structure, do the PC techs report to the help desk coordinator?
No.
Okay, so they report up. They're at the same level with different job functions.
Yeah, they're actually at a higher level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does the help desk coordinator ever actually solve the user's problem right then and there? Or do they always make a ticket and assign to somebody else?
If it doesn't require more permissions than they have, there's many things in the help desk. If we had more than one person, they'd be doing more of this. But searching the help desk instructions, certainly when, for instance, our main campus changed their format for passwords, the help desk person took on a huge role. He coordinated with our main campus IT, he coordinated with the users, he wrote out instructions, gave them to our webmaster who published them on our intranet, provided walkthroughs. The assistant director created a video to show people how to change things. It was very intricate the way they did things, and it was much more complex than we could handle. But they coordinated that whole process, and it was the first time I'd seen him step up into it. I feel like I've really empowered him because I've watched him grow in the position, and it worked well for us.
So he would create his own help desk ticket and then fill it out and finalize it and
Yeah.
everything if he didn't have to assign it to somebody else.
Yes, and with the password resets, he created a list every day of the people whose passwords he asked for reset on main campus, because sometimes they come back to us. We needed to know who those people were because maybe there was another problem. Maybe main campus thought they had their user ID right, but they didn't, which happened a couple times, or typos. So just asking for the password to be reset over and over was just insane. And we caught those really quick because he was so focused on it. Yes?
For students who walk in, do they get to deal with an analyst or a technician right then, or just do you open up a trouble ticket? And
We've created a laptop assistance program for them. They can go in and they can make an appointment. We have 2 times a day when we'll work on student laptops, at 10 and at 4, so we get our day and our evening program students. And we just have to corral them into certain time frames, or they're up in our office constantly. Now, all bets are off when exams start, but any other time